And ladies and gentlemen, I'm Jimmy James. You're watching Catch It Live First. We've got coming up for you the Moto GP race from Austria. So we won't talk about the Moto 3 and Moto 2 races in case you haven't watched them or you're going to watch the watch-alongs later on. It'd be very good of you if you do. But yeah, we're concentrating on the main race now, Moto GP. We had the sprint race yesterday. I'm assuming everybody knows the result of that because I'm going to go through that now. So Pecco Bagnaia P1, Jorge Martin P2 after getting a long lap penalty. Aleix Espargaro in P3. Fantastic performance from Aleix there. Bastianini managed fourth. Jack Miller, good effort, in fifth. Both of the KTM factory riders yesterday ran the medium front, medium rear, which everybody on the grid is running today for the main race. So Miller was in fifth, Morbidelli sixth, Brad Binder seventh, Bezzecchi eighth, Paul Espargaro ninth. Good effort for the test riding now for KTM. Pedro Acosta in 10th, a little bit disappointing, didn't move forward, but he did have that big crash earlier on. 180 mile an hour he came off at, so we'll forgive him that one. And being a rookie, sounds a bit harsh when you say I'll forgive him that one. Maverick Vinales 11th, Quartararo 12th, Oliveira 13th, Fernandez 14th, Zarco 15th, final points finisher. Good effort from Zarco there on the Honda. Nakagami 16th, Marini 17th, Salvadori 18th, the Aprilia test rider. 19th, Joan Mir. Alex Marquez finished 20th after falling off on the first lap going into the chicane. Non-finishers, Fernandez, Marc Marquez, Rins and Bradle. This morning in warm-up, Marc Marquez was the fastest, although that doesn't mean a great deal, but he's going to be in the mix today in this race. Don't you worry about that. So the front row is going to be Jorge Martin, Pecco Bagnaia, Marc Marquez. Second row, you'll have Aleix, Jack Miller, Maverick Vinales. Third row, Enea Bastianini, Frankie Morbidelli, Marco Bezzecchi. Fourth row will be Paul, Alex Marquez, and Brad Binder. They're just on the warm-up lap now. Not that the riders will need warming up. It is Scorchio. Trying to keep the bikes cool is an issue. Front tyre pressures are going to be an issue. Fuel usage is going to be an issue. And tyre wear is going to be an issue. That's just for the bikes. Fatigue for the riders in this heat is definitely going to be an issue, although they're all super fit. I mean, they ride away in Malaysia, over in the States, over in Asia, Japan, where the temperature's high. And it's a humidity as well that's a killer, but all of the riders will be struggling with heat. Heat from the sun, heat from the track, and obviously heat from the bikes. And if you've never rode a bike or raced a bike, let me tell you, the heat from the bike is as much a killer as the heat coming down from the sun. But there'll be plenty of these guys, no doubt, with blisters on the feet, with the heat from the engine and the exhaust. We've got the flag men on. It's Jorge Martin. Pulls up to the grid. David Otardotse looking a little bit pensive there. The flagmen are moving away. The red lights are on. We are go. Great start by Jorge Martin and Pecco Bagnaia. Neck and neck into turn one. Bagnaia on the inside. Martin's going to push his nose over. Marc Marquez, where are you going? He's blown the start as Marc Marquez running wide with it looked like his brother. And yeah, we'll see how that plays out in a moment. Everybody's going through turns 2A and 2B, which is the flip-flop chicane. But Marc Marquez is well down the field. He just ran wide, overcooked it into turn one. I'm assuming it was him and it wasn't Alex. And there again, Marc Marquez is wide into turn 3. But at the front, Jorge Martin has got the lead from Pecco Bagnaia, and the beast, Enea Bastianini, is up into third. If you're a Marc Marquez fan, he's got work to do. He's down in 13th place. Running wide on the start. There was 3-4 bikes went wide. We'll get a replay of it shortly. But yeah, it didn't pan out well for Marc. Not the start that he was hoping for. So at the front, Jorge Martin, Pecco Bagnaia. Nothing between them, end of lap 1. You've got a 0.4 of a second gap then, back to Enea Bastianini, Jack Miller, Brad Binder, Aleix Espargaro in 6th, Maverick Viñales 7th, but the power of that Pecco Bagnaia down the pit straight, he just blasts straight past Jorge Martin into the lead, which is obviously Pecco's plan. He wants to dictate this race from the front. Is Jorge Martin going to allow him to do it? Considering they're both on Ducatis, Pecco Bagnaia just breezed past. Just breezed past Jorge Martin there. So whether he's on fuel usage is an issue around this circuit, whether he's got it on full power. What? Morbidelli and Marquez under investigation. Marc's looking, his ride height device doesn't look like it's gone down at the front. It's not lowered Marc Marquez's ride height device. Then he fluffed the start. He got run into by, it looks like, Frankie Morbidelli. Hit his handlebars, which is why he ran wide, Morbidelli ran wide. Not really Marc Marquez's fault, but he didn't get a good start with no ride height device, that's for sure. There was big contact between himself, oh my word, between himself and Morbidelli, and how they didn't run into the back of, I couldn't see who it was. Oh, coming on around turn 10, Jorge Martin makes the move on Pecco Bagnaia, but as they come onto the pit straight, Bagnaia gets back underneath Martin, full power into turn 1. Jorge Martin cannot come back, and Pecco Bagnaia's put the fastest lap of the race in a 1:29. At the front, you've got a breakaway now of Pecco Bagnaia, Jorge Martin, half a second gap almost back to Enea Bastianini, then a 0.7 second of a gap back to Jack Miller, Brad Binder, Espargaro, Viñales, that kind of group. But at the front, it's definitely Bagnaia, Martin, Bastianini. That's your front 3. But yeah, it's bizarre the way that Pecco Bagnaia breezed past Martin on the power down the pit straight. I know he's on the factory bike, but I mean, surely to God, there's not that much difference. It was almost like it was reminiscent of what Alvaro Bautista was doing to everybody before they changed the weight limits on the Ducati and the fuel usage in World Superbikes. It looked that easy for Bagnaia to get past Jorge Martin. But he's not getting away, Bagnaia. Jorge Martin sticking with him. Looks quite comfortable, Martin in second. Enea Bastianini in third looks smooth as always as they come across the start-finish line. 25 laps to go. Do a quick top 10. Pecco Bagnaia puts the fastest lap of the race in. But then he's beaten by Marco Bezzecchi, 1:29.8. So top 10. Pecco Bagnaia, Jorge Martin, and Enea Bastianini, that's your top 3. Then you've got Miller 4th, Binder 5th, Aleix in 6th, Bezzecchi 7th. Viñales 8th, Alex Marquez 9th, and Marc Marquez has now moved into the top 10. He's just dispatched of Paul Espargaro. At the front it's as you were. Bagnaia, Martin, Bastianini. Bastianini's just keeping that half a second gap, probably trying to keep his front tyre tent cool. Jorge Martin, he's only 2 or 3 bike lengths behind Pecco Bagnaia, so he's definitely going to be suffering with a race tyre temperature anytime soon. You've got the heat from the circuit, you've got the ambient temperature is up. Obviously, you're going to be getting the heat off the exhaust of Pecco Bagnaia as well. And especially being so close as they come round the final turn, turn 10, onto the home straight. In theory, slipstream doesn't matter as much with these Moto GP bikes for sure. And Bagnaia pulls out a good 2 or 3 bike lengths down that straight again. So whether his fueling's slightly different at the start of this race, maybe Jorge Martin's gone a little bit leaner. Also maybe trying to look after that rear tyre. All of the grid has gone on medium front and medium rear. There's no variation. That medium front, sorry, it was the hard front last year. And the hard that's come this time, nobody really is comfortable with that because you've only really got the 2 left-handers before you're going through that flip-flop chicane. It's a little bit risky. So everybody's gone for the medium. And the only person who really got on with it, as you would expect, would have been Marc Marquez. He always liked that harder front when he got on the Honda, didn't he? But he also has gone for the medium front for today's race. Pecco looks like he's just pulling a couple of bike lengths out here. Whether that's because Martin wants to get some cooler air onto his front tyre, or whether Pecco's up in the pace, we'll find out as they come across the line now to see if he's got the fastest lap around turn 10. Onto the pit straight, definite gap now between the front 3, and then a 1.8 second gap to Miller in 4th. Yeah, nobody's put a fastest lap in on that lap. Marc Marquez's cigarette paper width between his front tyre and the back tyre of his brother, Alex, as they come up into turn 3. Into the chicane. It was a little bit of a block pass there by Marc Marquez on his brother, but once Alex saw him, he kind of didn't try and put it over his nose. So Marc then got good drive up into turn 3. Kind of blown his race though there. His ride height device definitely did not engage on the front. We saw a replay of the start. He was looking at it, making sure he didn't launch off the line. It looked like the back had dropped, but not the front. And it's such an advantage now if you can get your bike basically turning it into a drag bike, as we know. But then as he was going into turn 1, Frankie Morbidelli was on his left-hand side, and there was big contact between Morbidelli and Marc Marquez, and Marc almost ran into the back of, I'm going to say, Enea Bastianini. He took avoiding action there. Both he and Morbidelli ran really wide out onto the green runoff area. And that was pretty much his race done. He came back on track and he was in like 13th place or something like that. So, yeah, long way back. I mean, Marc Marquez is capable of doing it, but let's be honest, it was borderline whether he was going to be in the fight at the front with Pecco Bagnaia, Jorge Martin and Enea Bastianini as it was. So, trying to come from 13 and get in the mix at the front, it's going to be a difficult challenge for him. Blimey. Maverick Vinales tried to move into turn 1 on his teammate Aleix, but I'm assuming he let the brake off because it was his teammate, because he just flew past him and ran wide. Getting close between Miller and Binder as well, teammates, as they're going around turn 6. That gap between Bastianini in 3rd and Binder, who's currently holding 4th, is 3.2 seconds. That's not going to be closed up unless something happens at the front. I don't see. Although in saying that, these KTM bikes, the factory bikes, can look after their tyre. And they both ran the medium tyres yesterday, so they know exactly what pace they can run today for the full race, surely. Bezzecchi gets the better there of Jack Miller, so he'll move up into 5th place, and Bezzecchi will have his sights set on Brad Binder, who's just pulled a few bike lengths out now over his teammate. Still Pecco out front, 21 laps to go. Marc Marquez comes up on the inside of Maverick Vinales there. So Marc Marquez moves up to 7th place now. Sorry, he's just taken Aleix Espargaro into 7th. He's got his sights set on Jack Miller. Jack's looking steady as you go, trying to probably conserve a little bit of fuel and look after his tyre. Marc Marquez has probably got a little bit of red mist come down and thinking, stuff it. I'm going to use some of my tyre up now and see if we can get into this race. I think where we were hearing as well, there was a chance there was going to be a flag-to-flag race with a chance of some inclement weather. I think that's definitely gone. Not sure what was going on with Bagnaia there. It looked like a bug or something had gone across his visor. He's still trying to get it off now. And he was struggling to get his tear-off off. It's not slowed him down any though. He just put the fastest lap in, a 1:29.5. Marc Marquez trying to get the move done on Jack Miller. The gap's 44 thousandths of a second. Miller with the advantage though. But Mark's getting a bit of a slipstream there as they go into the chicane. Line astern though, doesn't make that move. Miller was a little bit deeper in, so his exit will be compromised. Mark gets good drive as they're approaching turn 3. Miller's good on the brakes there though. Mark tries to exploit any delay in getting on the power there from Miller. They both get on the power at the same time. So we're now going down to turn 4. Line astern. Looks like an awful corner that, downhill, off camber. Now we'll be coming to the left-handers, which we know Mark's good at. He likes a left-hand bend, does Marc Marquez. So close, you can see you're getting a good view of Jack Miller's rear tyre there from the front of Marc Marquez's onboard camera. That's how close he is. Is he going to try it into turn 9, or is he going to set turn 9 up and do it into turn 10? He thought about it into 9. He pulls back. I've got a feeling he's going to set the move up though into turn 1 if he gets a good drive onto the straight here. Jack gets good drive off there, Jack Miller, but Mark's right behind him now. Taking advantage of the slipstream, he's going to go around the outside. Jack goes defensive. And Mark cannot get through there. Jack Miller doesn't run wide. Mark's going around the outside. Is he into the chicane? No. Jack Miller's defensive again there. Marc Marquez almost hits Jack Miller there. And he's lost. He's kept the position, but he's now under pressure, Marc Marquez, from Aleix Espargaro behind, and he's lost about 4 or 5 bike lengths there as Marc Marquez. He literally nearly, and I mean nearly, rear-ended Jack Miller there going into the right at the chicane, turn 2A. But he set that up from turn 8. And he couldn't quite... Oh, his elbow. Marc Marquez's elbow hit Jack Miller's rear tyre. He's going to have plenty of rubber on his leathers there, Marc Marquez. He's lucky that it didn't pull his arm under Jack Miller's bike. It wasn't just a little touch. His elbow was rubbing and it almost pulled his arm off the handlebar when his elbow hit the back of Jack Miller's rear tyre. So he did well to stay on. And secondly, he did well not to lose a position to Aleix Espargaro, who was right behind him. At the front, we've got Pecco Bagnaia in the lead still from Jorge Martin. Then there's a 1.8 second gap to Enea Bastianini. Then after that, after Bastianini, there's a... Jack Miller's gone down there. So Marc Marquez will move into 5th. He'll inherit that place from Jack Miller. Oh yeah, going into the first part of excuse me, turning into the first part of the chicane. He was slightly deep. Really, he trailed. He should have ran wide in hindsight. Should have, could have, didn't. It's easy from an armchair, isn't it? But he was pushing the front there. Marc Marquez was putting him under pressure. And at the front, that gap's up to 2 seconds now. Jorge Martin to Bastianini in 3rd. But the gap between Martin and Pecco Bagnaia is minuscule. Probably 2 bike lengths as they come onto the pit straight. It looked like Bagnaia is using a little bit more track there. And Jorge Martin pulls out of the slipstream there, trying to get some cool air onto his front tyre, no doubt. They both look in control and in line going into turn 1. And in the championship, as things stand, if it stays like this, Pecco Bagnaia will take a 5-point lead over Jorge Martin. As things stand before this race, they were both level on points. Do a quick top 15. So we've got Pecco Bagnaia, Martin, Bastianini. That's your top 3. You've got Brad Binder 4th, Marco Bezzecchi in 5th, Marc Marquez 6th, Aleix in 7th, Maverick 8th, Alex Marquez in 9th, Frankie Morbidelli in 10th. Paul, good effort on the KTM in 11th. He got that wildcard ride, didn't he, as a test rider for KTM. And he's got a few bits and bobs on that bike that apparently are new. But he's putting in a good effort, is Paul. Raul Fernandez 12th. Miguel Oliveira 13th, he's got a track limits warning. Pedro Acosta 14th, a little bit disappointing from Acosta, maybe he's got a little bit of an injury from the other day. He did have an off at 180 mile an hour, but maybe Poncharal said before the race, we had a word with him and said, look, just calm it down a little bit. Looked like Marc Marquez was on the green there. Yeah, so, and Oliveira's got a track limits warning. I think I did mention that. Just looking at the small window at the top, Bagnaia is increasing his lead there. He's probably got about, I would say, 8, 9, 10 bike lengths as they're going into turn 3. Seems to be getting off the corners better than Jorge Martin as well. Whether that's because he's using a little bit more tyre, I'm not sure. I'm currently on board with Marc Marquez. He's behind Marco Bezzecchi, quarter of a second behind him. Quick shout out, if you haven't done so already, please hit the subscribe button, ping that notifications bell and give us a thumbs up. YouTube's love a thumbs up apparently. And Marc Marquez looks like he's running wide. Whether his front tyre's getting hot because he was close behind Miller before Miller tipped it off, he's close behind Bezzecchi, and whether it's just getting a little bit slick, his front tyre, with the temperature, I don't know. Finish off your top 15, so we were on Oliveira, Pedro Acosta 14th, Fabio Quartararo's in 15th, and he's also got a track limits warning. 15 laps to go. Gap at the front is definitely extending now. It's almost up to a second actually, so whether that's more to do with Jorge Martin's tyre temperature, I suspect it is. I'm still watching on board with Marc Marquez. God, that's a dark cloud. My word. It wasn't long ago and I'd just said any chance of any inclement weather looks like it's past its scorchy over in Austria. We've just seen an onboard there and there is the darkest cloud. It looks like a nighttime cloud when the sun's just gone down. It's that dark and it looks like it's full of rain, possibly thunder with it. It's dark. And if that empties its contents on this circuit, the riders are going to be into the pits quick smart. There won't be any of this let's try and ride around, because that looks like it would deposit lots of precipitation onto the circuit, shall we say. Marco Bezzecchi just ran wide there. Marc Marquez thought about taking advantage, but didn't want that collision, probably as two bikes go for one piece of tarmac, so he just held station. As they come round the final turn 10, we'll see what he can do down the pit straight. No, he's lost little bit of ground there. So no chance of making a move into turn 1. That gap at the front, Bagnaia to Martin, is 1.384 seconds. Marc Marquez is still trying to get past Bezzecchi. Bezzecchi's got his sights set though on Brad Binder, who's in 4th. And the gap between Jorge Martin and Enea Bastianini is 2.6 seconds. I'm curious to see what the gap is between Bastianini and Binder. It's a fair old gap. It's showing on screen as a group of 3, but it is definitely not. Bastianini's got that 3rd place all to himself at the minute as Marc Marquez gets right up behind Marco Bezzecchi there into these left-handers. We know Marc's good on the left-handers, but blimey, he's already had his elbow into the rear tyre of Jack Miller. Lucky it didn't pull his arm off the bike. He was getting close there to Bezzecchi as they come on to turn 10. Is Marc going to get the drive off as he set this one up nicely? He gets a better drive, does Marc Marquez, as we come onto the pit straight. What's he going to look at doing into turn 1? Nothing. Makes some ground upon the brakes, but he's not got that drive off the final corner. And with Marc Marquez at the start, his front ride height device did not switch on, caused him all the problems, which is why he dropped down to 13 after contact with Frankie Morbidelli. And I'm wondering if he's got an issue with his rear ride height device as well, because he doesn't get the drive off the corners that you would expect. He's setting up the move, but then not getting the drive. So as we're coming into, we've got Marc Marquez behind Bezzecchi. He's going to come through into turn 6, the first left-hander. He's right behind Bezzecchi. He's going to be coming into turn 7, can't get it done there. And now he's going to be coming into the right-hand turn of turn 8, which is nothing more than a kink. Now into turn 9, he's going to hold station there. Brad Binder's got to change his mapping. No further action between Morbidelli and Marquez. Right, onto the straight. Marc's real close now to Bezzecchi, but Bezzecchi's pulling away. Marc Marquez, he's trying to make it up on the brakes into turn 1, which he does, but by the time he gets to turn 1, he's lost so much ground with the acceleration off that final corner. He's going to go into... Oh, that's a block pass. He pushes Bezzecchi wide. Might have been a little bit of contact there, but Marc Marquez gets that move done into the first turn right, 2A, into the chicane. Gets decent enough drive out of 2B up to turn 3, but there was definitely contact here as Bezzecchi, no, there wasn't contact, I apologise. There would have been, but Bezzecchi saw Marquez at the last minute and sort of sat his bike up just ever so slightly, which made it look like there was a bit of contact, but there was not. So Marc Marquez does now move into 5th place. He's got his next sights on Brad Binder, who's in 4th. The gap's 3/4 of a second. Binder's already been told on that previous lap, he's pin 2. So whether that's due to tyre wear or fuel consumption, nobody will know, only the guys at KTM. At the front, Bagnaia, his lead over Martin is up to 1.77 seconds. Martin's then got a lead of 3.2 seconds to Enea Bastianini in third. Bastianini's quite lonely there actually now. Brad Binder's in fourth, and he's got the Jaws music playing in his ears because Marc Marquez is right behind Brad Binder now. And he's a sole factory Ducati, KTM, with Jack Miller crashing out. There's a battle going on between the two teammates there of Aleix Espargaro and Maverick Viñales. Both side by side as they come out of the chicane up to turn 3. Maverick stays behind, Paul slides it in nicely. And now Marc Marquez is right on the back of Brad Binder. But Brad Binder, let's be honest, he's pretty much last of the late breakers. And that KTM isn't slow out of the corners either. And that's in Marc Marquez. Marc Marquez, he gets that job done on overtaking Brad Binder there. Binder ran slightly wide on the left-hander at turn 6 and Marc pounced straight away. Got the move done by turn 7. And now, as they're going into turn 9, Brad Binder's got nothing for Marc. It'll be interesting to see what they do as they come out of turn 10 onto the straight. Marc looks to me like he was struggling for speed down the straights. How's the KTM going to fare against the Ducati? He didn't lose any ground, but he didn't make anything up into turn 1. I've got a feeling we could get some rain in this race, you know. There's a massive shadow over turn 1. And if that's where the weather's coming from, I don't think wet tyres would do the job. They'd need, well, they wouldn't have monsoon tyres, would they? But that's, if that dumps its load, that's going to cause some chaos. Maverick and Aleix are still going at it, and it's as you were, it's Aleix still in front of Maverick Viñales. But all that glorious sunshine, not a cloud in the sky, what a change now. And it looks like it's right over turn 1. And it looks like in the distance as well, it looks like there's mist. Whether that's rain that's coming or whether it is just mist, I'm not sure. But I'm pretty certain we will see them readying. Maverick just gets the job done on his teammate there as they came out of turn 7 around the right hander. He lined him up lovely, got good drive, and now he's got about a 3 or 4 bike length lead as they come into turn 1. And Morbidelli is going to be putting Aleix under some pressure anytime soon. Yeah, that cloud has come over the circuit. Because where it was all bright and looked like lovely sunshine, now it looks really overcast. That'll be good for the tyres because it'll hopefully be cooling the circuit down a little bit. At the front, Pecco's still got that lead, 1.7 seconds. It's Jorge Martin managing that gap so he can keep his front tyre temperature down for an attack maybe with 5 or 6 laps to go. We'll find out shortly because we're on 9 laps to go. The gap to Bastianini in third from Martin, 4.3 seconds. He looks like he's pretty much done for the day, I would say. Unless Martin and Bagnaia's tyres fall off a cliff, Bastianini is not going to be getting involved in the finish, although he will get a spot on the podium. Maverick's consolidated that move on Aleix Espargaro now. It looks like he's got that one done. Although Paul is only 3 or 4 bike lengths behind. I'm wondering if they're going to get these number 2 bikes out in the pit lane. They are. All of the bikes are out in pit lane. with wet tyres on. Whether that's just precautionary or I'm pretty sure they'll have the weather information. 8 laps to go. Whether they're going to be needed or not, we'll find out soon. That gap's still 1.6 seconds at the front, back up to 1.7. Bagnaia to Martin. Martin to Bastianini in third, 4.5 seconds. And Bastianini's then got a 7.8 second lead to Marc Marquez. I thought that was something came off the bike then of Jorge Martin, and it wasn't. It was the drone moving away from the side of the circuit. 3 riders currently on track limits warnings. That was Miguel Oliveira. We're just watching a replay of Marc Marquez trying to get his front ride-out device to work. Wasn't having it. Just watching a replay of the start. I want to see Marc Marquez nearly rear-ended when him and Morbidelli came together. Oh, I'll tell you who it was. I think it was Jack Miller. I think it was Jack Miller who he almost rear-ended. Oh my word, yep. Blimey. So really, when you think Marc Marquez in P4, when he dropped down to 13th from the start at turn 1, good effort from the maestro. 7 laps to go. Looks in line, does Pecco Bagnaia. That cloud is still coming in, and in the distance you can see the mist. No doubt the riders will be glad that the sun's gone behind the clouds as well, because like I said earlier, it is Scorchio. They were all struggling with the heat. Just getting a slow-mo here of, although that was earlier on, because Jorge Martin's right behind. It's just showing the lean angle 59 degrees at 68 miles an hour going into the chicane. But trying to see if he's, can't see any marking on Pecco Bagnaia on his tyres, so fair play to him. That lead at the front is up to 2 seconds. Maybe Jorge Martin's thinking, take the 20 points, mate. Alex Marquez has just taken Paul Espargaro. That's the battle for 10th. Pedro Acosta still in 14th. We've not seen anything of him really in this race. Probably taking the advice of Hervé Poncharal of just calm it down a little bit, you know. And he's coming under pressure now, actually, is Pedro Acosta from Raul Fernandez. That's the battle for 12th. 6 laps to go. I think if Jorge Martin's going to do anything, which I can't see him doing actually, he's going to have to start getting a wriggle on any lap now. They're going to be going over the line any second. They're just going through turn 10, the right-hander onto the pit straight. That will be 5 laps to go. And it's gaps remained at 2 seconds between Bagnaia and Martin. So whether he's hoping that there's... Jorge Martin might be thinking, Pecco, we've seen him make mistakes before when he's seemingly snatched defeat from the jaws of victory. Maybe he's hoping today that's going to be the case, and there's a fail-safe, he'll just finish second and take the 20 points. But Pecco's not put a foot wrong so far in this race. Marc Marquez, he's in 4th. I can't see him getting any further towards Bastianini though, because there's a 6.5 second gap, so he's going to have to settle for that, I think. He's not really under any pressure from behind from Brad Binder. But I think after turn 1, if you'd have offered Marc Marquez, Luke, you can finish fourth, I think he'd have snatched your hand off for sure. That gap's just come down by 0.2. So it's 1.8 seconds now, but Jorge Martin's got a track limits warning now. So I think that's going to put him, although in saying that, Jorge Martin's got almost a 5-second lead to Enea Bastianini. So even if he has got to take a long lap penalty, it's not going to move him out of that second place. It's going to put Bastianini closer to him, but he's not going to lose the position. So you won't want to be going out onto the green though on the final lap, that's for sure. You don't want to be demoted a place. He's bringing that gap down, 4 laps to go. It's 1.7 seconds. Tell you what though, Bagnaya's bike looks fast in the straight. What's it going to go through the next checkpoint, see if he's taking anything more? He has. It's down to 1.6. Now, is this because Pecco Bagnaia is slowing down slightly, or is Jorge Martin upping the pace? And is it going to be a case that Bagnaia can't pick the pace up any more than he's going because he's used the fuel in the earlier part of the race? I know fuel usage was an issue around this circuit. I mean, all the bikes on the way to the grid, on the sighting lap, they were crawling. Literally not wanting to use any fuel at all. What's that? 3 laps to go. With a bit of chatter into turn 1 on the front there for Jorge Martin. What's that say? What is that gap? What's the gap? Show us the gap. Oh, it's back to 1.8. Did have a little bit of chatter going into turn 1 there, did Jorge Martin. Pecco Bagnaia just looks wheels in line. Looks smooth. Almost looks slow. Which is a good sign for Pecco Bagnaia. He's got that lead down at the front now to 1.5 seconds. It's just gone up to 1.6. But with 3 laps to go, I can't see Jorge Martin doing anything here now. Bagnaia is just coming around turn 10. We're going to have 2 laps to go. I think Jorge Martin is going to just settle for second place. I'm not saying he's going to slow down, but he's just going into the chicane, yeah. His wheels in line, Pecco Bagnaia going through that chicane. Also wheels in line is Jorge Martin. If he was really pushing, he'd be almost fishtailing it in, wouldn't he? Trying to slide the back end in now with 2 laps to go. You don't want to leave any tyre on the rim. You want to leave it on the track, which makes me think he hasn't got anything left. Oh my word. Paul almost ran into the back of Alex Marquez there, going through the chicane. And he'll lose a spot there because I think, did Pedro Acosta take him? Or was it, I don't know, either way. Pedro Acosta's in 13th. Paul is showing in 12th, but I thought he lost a spot there. Maybe he didn't. But at the front, that leads at 2 seconds now, with 2 laps to go. Final lap. Gets up to 2.3. I think he's, I don't say he's thrown the towel in Jorge Martin, but he's got nothing for Pecco Bagnaia. And that Ducati that Pecco Bagnaia's on, it looked like it had so much more horsepower in the early part of this race than Jorge Martin's. Even though in theory, they're both on the same bike. Certainly didn't look like it going down the straights. Maybe there was a slightly different mapping, or there was something that gave Pecco that much more horsepower. It wasn't just getting past and, you know, getting alongside him, being later on the brakes. He literally drove past Jorge Martin. I'm pretty sure Jorge Martin, maybe he'll be having something to say about that after the race. You know, like a bit of the old, I hope Ducati are not turning my bike's horsepower down. Because it was, the difference in speed was noticeable, almost striking. But final sector now for Pecco Bagnaia, 2.8 seconds his lead, goes into turn 9, into turn 10, and he will come across the finish line. Now, he's ecstatic with that. So we've got Pecco Bagnaia is your winner, from Jorge Martin second, Enea Bastianini third. Marc Marquez will finish in a lonely fourth in the end. It's going to be it's going to be Brad Binder in fifth, Marco Bezzecchi sixth, Maverick Vinales seventh, Frankie Morbidelli eighth, Aleix Espargaro ninth, Alex Marquez 10th, Paul Espargaro 11th, Miguel Oliveira 12th, Pedro Acosta 13th, Taki Nakagami 14th, good effort, Augusto Fernandez in 15th. That's your top points finisher. Then you've got Rins, Mir, Quartararo. Miller didn't... I don't think Miller finished. Or did he? Maybe he picked his bike up. Yeah, he must have done. Still finished in front of Savadori in 20th, Zarco in 21st, and Stefan Bradl rounds out your finishers because Raul Fernandez did not finish. So Pecco Bagnaia celebrates. He'll now take a 5-point lead in the championship, picking up 25 points. Jorge Martin 20 points for second, 16 points for the Beast in third, and Bezzecchi getting congratulated by the GOATs, Valentino Rossi, at the side of the track. And that dark cloud is still there, and it's just coming. It's coming over the hill there, and we didn't get any rain. But trust me, there's rain coming in Austria. So if you're there now, listening to Jimmy James on Catch It Live, get your umbrella ready, because you're going to need it. And then get ready to take it down and get wet, because if it starts thundering and lightning, the last thing you want to do is be stood there with an umbrella. But not the most exciting of Grand Prix. But all that being said, there's plenty of close racing going on at times, which is what we want to see. But we move on now. I'm not sure where we're going to next. But the races are going to come thick and fast in Moto Grand Prix racing now. When we finally finish in, is it November, the final race in Valencia? We're only just over halfway through the season. So it looks like it's going to go to the end, and it looks like the main protagonist, let's be honest, it's going to be Pecco Bagnaia and Jorge Martin. I hope that Ducati don't slow Jorge Martin's bike down, because they want a Ducati next year with a number 1 plate on it. And if Jorge Martin does win this championship, that'll mean Ducati do not have a bike with a number 1 plate on it, because Martin's jumping ship. So we will see how that pans out. But Marc Marquez, he looks like he's got wild eyes through his visor. Did well to finish in 4th after that horrendous start. Ride height device not dropping, running wide at turn 1 after contact with Frankie Morbidelli and taking avoiding action so he didn't run into the back of, I think it was Jack Miller. So he dropped down to 13th. So to come through to 4th, pretty good effort that from Marc Marquez. And I would also say it would have been interesting to see what he could have done if he'd have made turn 1 in, say, 3rd, 4th position. Because I'm pretty sure he would have been in the mix, and that would have shook up the first 3 places where we had the procession. I'm pretty sure we would have had more of a battle at the front. But Bastianini finishes 3rd. He's 3rd in the championship as well. He's on 214 points. So he'll be happy enough with that. Didn't have anything for the front 2. But if it's not your day, finishing 3rd isn't bad, and it's not a bad haul of points either. So he's not out of this championship, as we know, as we've seen with Aigura leading the championship, but as a tip-off yesterday from a little high side, he's broke his hand, so he didn't race today. Won't mention what happened in case anyone's not watched it yet, but it just shows that an injury in the blink of an eye can change a championship in the blink of an eye. And you cannot rule out anybody, really, who's in the top 4 in Moto GP. So I'm going to go and get ready now for a stream later on today. Chelsea playing Manchester City. So please join us for that one. If you haven't done so already, please hit subscribe. If you don't want to subscribe, totally understand. If you can give us a thumbs up, that'll be fantastic. And if you ping that notifications bell, you can keep up to date with what we've got coming for you. There's plenty more sport coming up on Catch It Live First. So, like I said, we'll be back about, I think the kickoff's 4:30 GMT today. So we'll get on streaming just 5 minutes before, go through the team lineups, any gossip. And then we'll bring a live watch along of Man City playing Chelsea away. I am Jimmy James. Thanks ever so much for your company. It's been my pleasure. You're watching Catch It Live First. We'll be back in just over a couple of hours. Have a great day, people.